Hi, everyone. This is Jacqui Cooper with JCooperTravels. And today I have a very special guest who is doing remarkable things in her community as well as in the social media community. And I am going to be chatting with her in just a second. But for those that are new to JCooperTravels, I just want to share a little bit about my background and how it got started. J. Cooper Travel started a few years ago prior to the pandemic, and it was all about where do we go around the world from the travel perspective. And then when the pandemic happened, I realized that, how we travel in life is a lot more. It's also about the inner journey as well as the outer journey. It's how do we treat each other? How do we interact with each other, both, our family, friends, careers. So J. Cooper Travels is all about stories. How do we connect and interconnect? And my background is very diverse. My background is that I'm a lawyer, but I navigated into the special education teaching area about 17 years ago. And I'm also an entrepreneur and a single mom. So there's a lot of different hats that I wear. And that's true with so many people. And it, none of those hats define us, but they all help create who we are. So with that, today's topics are going to be talking about boundaries, talking about mental health, talking about inspiring others, supporting others, and the individual that I'm going to be introducing to you has a remarkable story. For those that are on the talk show side and not on the YouTube side, hop over to the J. Cooper Travels YouTube so you can also kind of see our chat and enjoy it. Definitely like and subscribe because this is the first of many episodes that we're going to be doing. And so these topics that we're going to be talking about are really, really important. So with that, I would like to welcome Tiyauna and Unpacked Energy. Wow, I see that on the screen for those that are not on the screen, and I want to say you are all about energy, and I want you to explain more about why you have the title Unpacked Energy, and also just introduce yourself. Welcome.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. My name is Tiyauna White, and what I came up with the name. Well, I'll say God gave me the name of Unpacked Energy for the podcast. Probably back in 2018, I actually started my podcast 2019 because I'm a late bloomer and I don't listen. So sometimes it takes me a little longer to start things. But what I got from the name was is that a lot of times when we have concerns, issues, different struggles, we have to learn how to unpack those things and come outside of the box and say, you know what, I'm going to open this box up. I'm going to pull these things out. And that's where we're able to heal and rebuild. So that's where I got the title of the show. And my motto is where we unpack, heal, and rebuild. So that's pretty much where I got that from.
I love that because you're right. We're like onions. Sometimes we don't realize, what actually causes the need for
Absolutely.
the healing, and it gets submerged, and it's definitely needed to be kind of brought to the surface so we can understand
Yeah.
and explore more. So your personal story, though, you're actually from Maryland,
Yeah.
but you are living in Georgia right now.
Yes.
um Share a little bit about your own personal journey because you had a lot of enlightenment as a result of that as well.
Yes, yes. So like you said, I'm originally from Maryland, PG County, and I was working for the government, the post office in particular, a few years back, and I got a promotion to come down to Georgia. I had been wanting to return to Georgia because I actually went to college in Atlanta. So I had been wanting to return to Georgia for a long time, and I got a promotion. They packed us up, they gave us money, my daughter and I'm a single parent as well, and we moved to Georgia and we started a new life. I didn't have, or I don't have any family here, so it was really starting over for me. I didn't have the comfort of at least, falling back on, okay, well, I can go stay with this person or I can reach out to this person. Of course, I had my family at home, but someone in the physical sense that I could really kind of bounce back from. And so I had it in my mind that this had to work. There were no other options. I had to make this work. My daughter was 12 years old, I believe, at the time. And she was looking to me, looking up to me. And, because initially she didn't really want to come because she's a kid, and that's understandable. Her thing was, Mom, I'm leaving my friends. I don't have friends down there. But I knew that this would be a better move for her, and I emotionally, mentally, and physically. And so I had to keep it in my mind that this had to work. But also too, I like to say to people, when things don't work, it's okay to go back. I knew Maryland was going to be there, but my first thought was it had to work. And so from that, I pulled a lot of strength that I didn't know that I had. I was very codependent upon my family, my mom in particular, even up, to my late 30s, I just would take from her, pulling from her emotionally. And just everything was mom, mom, mom. And at this point, I had to learn how to stand and, be my own person. And it was definitely a defining moment and changed me, in my life forever.
So you had some health issues as well that helped, you come to the realization, and also I think in our conversation made you think that you needed to share your story to help others.
Yes. So I had struggled with weight pretty much all my life. Um, I want to say physically, as far as weight is concerned, different from everybody in my family. I was kind of the chubbiest person in my family. My family never made any comment about it or made me feel, less significant or anything like that. But it was something that I dealt with growing up. And back in 2019, I went and decided to have weight loss surgery. I'm going to make it as short and get to the point as possible. I had weight loss
Okay.
surgery. I'm going to be honest, from a health perspective, I didn't need to have the surgery. I was told that by two of my doctors. But from a aesthetic thing for me, I felt like I needed to. I had the surgery, thinking back on it, for the wrong reasons. I thought if I was smaller, people would love me a little bit better. People would invite me out more. I would date a different quality of men. All of the incorrect reasons for having it. And so I had weight loss surgery, and everything that could have went wrong went wrong. I got a blood clot in my intestine the day that I was to leave or be discharged from the hospital, which caused me to have two more surgeries over the next 2 days after the first surgery. I was in a coma for a while, about 2 to 3 weeks. Um, um, I spent 2020 basically recovering, not only physically, but emotionally. I didn't actually leave the hospital until right before the pandemic hit. And when I initially left the hospital, I thought, okay, well, I got over the hardest hurdle. I went through the coma thing, and I was able to, I'm good now. Things are going to be on the up and up. When I went into the hospital, I was engaged to someone. When I left the hospital, which was 2 months later, he was married to somebody else. So I was dealing with a lot of emotional trauma. And I had to put that on the back burner because I had to deal with my physical, because that was the then, right there, now. I did lose the weight. I lost it too fast. I couldn't eat for months. So they had me what's on TPN, which is a IV nutritional base that you are on. I had a lot of vitamin deficiencies. I was in a wheelchair for about 10 months. I lost everything, my house, my car. I wasn't able to work. I had to go back and stay with parents, being in my late 30s. It was a really traumatic experience. And so 2020, I spent being angry. I blamed everybody. I didn't take responsibility, didn't take ownership, and I just was angry with everybody until one point I was having a conversation with my aunt, and my mom and my grandmother had told me, I needed to change things. But coming from my aunt, it was a really big eye opener, because she's not the type of person to be aggressive with me. And I was having a conversation, just complaining, and rightfully so, I had a right to. But she said, okay, at what point do you stop when do you start living again? When do you take responsibility for the decision that you made? And when do you stop blaming everybody else and start living? She said, life is going to go on, whether you're walking or whether you're in a wheelchair, whether you have two arms or one. You know, life goes on. There are people that deal with the same things that you deal with. Sometimes in certain cases worse, not comparing, but to let me know that there are people living their lives with, what the world deems as disabilities or handicaps, whatever you want to call it. And they are able to have good lives. And the end of 2020 is when I started living again. And I took responsibility from an emotional point. That was the hardest part. The physical was definitely hard for me, but the emotional aspect was really hard because I couldn't deal with surface stuff. I had to get deep down into that wound, allow God to pull those things up and to cause me to look at myself. So it was a bigger picture than the surgery. So since then, I've just spent my life is really based on sharing my experiences with people, not to deter people from having the surgery. That's a personal choice, but just to share my experience and to let them know what could happen, but more so to focus on the emotional aspect, meaning even before the surgery, I was enough. I just didn't think I was. But getting to the root of that and finding out, okay, what do I need to work on in me? What things have happened to me in the past that I need to address? And not in the scope of blaming somebody, but saying, hey, this could have been different. I got to take responsibility, but also at the same time, holding other people accountable too. So I spend most of my time just trying to keep women encouraged and let them know, hey, your life, it may, you had a linear idea of what it should have been, but that's not how life is. And it's okay, but you can be happy, you can be loved, you are good enough at whatever capacity you're at,
Yeah, those are really important messages because a lot of times, we get mixed messages from media, from family members,
Yeah.
even in your situation, you didn't, from school, from peers. And there's always, depending upon the age that, you are, from kids all the way up to adults, there's always some person, some entity, there's things that we are always seeking approval from.
Yes.
And like you said, the approval needs to come from within. Again, we are whole, we are good, we are, we need to love ourselves
Yeah.
and accept ourselves and give us the grace of the space of that. So Unpacked Energy, your talk show,
Mhm.
what's your focus? And I mean, again, I want people to support your talk show just like they support mine.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about that and how they can find you. Even though
So,
I'm going to interrupt for just
mm,
1 second. For those that are listening, there is and especially if you're new to this, there is a blog below. I will have all the links below. So if you hear a link or a website that we mentioned and you don't have paper and pen, don't worry. Just go back to this episode. You can find the link and then you can kind of click in and support. So now I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt,
that's
but I
okay.
wanted to let people know about that.
Yes. So my target audience, based on the numbers, and I hate to go on that, but it looks like my audience is from 25 to 50 of women. And when I started it, I didn't have a certain bracket that I was looking. I just wanted anybody who wanted to learn how to be a better person, and I still do to this day. So it's primarily geared toward women. We talk about everything because I don't think life is just one way.
Yep.
And we all come from different walks. I'm very inclusive. Mine's is a faith-based show, but I'm not drilling and trying to, just bombard somebody, but we do use some of the principles, and I discuss some of the principles, from the Bible to give context. It's not that does not mean that you have to be a Christian to listen to the show. That's not what it is, but it's basically common sense, context principles that we try to use, do right by people, don't do this, try to be an upstanding person. And so we talk about everything. When I started in 2019, I had a co-host for a couple of shows. shows. Then when I started in 2021, it was just me. And I think what happened with me at this year, at the beginning of this year, I decided to relaunch March 6th, which was this past Sunday, Sunday ago. And I felt like I gave my audience as much as I could from my knowledge. And I realized I needed to have more people on. So that's what we're doing now. So we had people to on about finances, mental health, business, entrepreneurship, wellness. I have a yoga instructor coming up, just a well-rounded perspective of different things, because what I might like, somebody else might not like. And I don't try to have people on just based off of what I like, because we're a group, it's a community. So I try to include everybody as best as I can. We have a very engaged audience. They're always reaching out to me. And let me know, hey, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. But for people looking to connect with me, I'm on Instagram and Facebook under the same hashtag, the same handle, Unpacked Energy. I'm pretty much more active on Instagram, but I am on Facebook too. Don't worry, you can message me either or. I always tell people my message or my DMs are open, so message me. I love to talk. I can talk. Now be careful. I caution you, if you message me, I can talk all night. So if you just don't feel like talking, let me know. Hey, Tiyauna, I just got one quick question to keep it moving. They can email me too at unpackenergy@gmail.com, and support the show at, on Apple, Google, Spotify, Anchor, or whatever you have. We're on there. I'm
Yeah.
on there. So they can support me that way too.
Yeah, for sure. So on the show, I always do one tip, one place. What would
Okay.
you like to talk about first, the tip or the place?
The place.
Okay, where should we travel to today? And for those that are new, the place is a place that you might be off the beaten track, a place that my guests might want us to discover when we go to a certain area. So
Okay.
what place is it?
I would suggest, if you're in the United States, travel to Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
I say that because I'm a northern girl. When I moved down to Georgia, I liked it, but I was like, and then somebody suggested, hey, check out Charleston, you'll like it. If you're a food person, which I am, and love really good food, seafood, cuisines, please try Charleston, South Carolina. It's a small city. It's not as large as some of the larger cities, but it's a beautiful place. It's so rich with history. I've never met a group of people like the people in Charleston, South Carolina, and I've kind of traveled all over the United States, but I've never met a group of people like those people. It's just something beautiful about them. They're welcoming. Of course, it's the Southern hospitality, but I like it because it's diverse and I feel included. You know what I mean? So I would definitely say if you had to travel to one place, check out Charleston, South Carolina.
And that's great. I definitely will. I have not traveled down there yet. So when I do, hopefully I'll also be connecting with you, but we'll
Yeah.
definitely go and explore that area. Now, what about the tip? What takeaway tip would you like our listeners to think about today?
Okay. One takeaway tip that even I am learning on a day-to-day basis is do not look at life in a linear scope. You have to be open to change, and you have to be open to your idea of life. Even though we envision it to be a certain way and we say, okay, it should take me step A, B, C, D, and E to get there, you have to be okay with maybe doing A, F, coming back to B, and down to Z. You have to keep yourself open to that because it presents a lot of different opportunities. There are things that I do now that I have always wanted to do. And when I was younger or when I was in my 20s or something, I felt like I had to do this to get there. And I realize now it's totally a different pathway that I took, and it was better for me. So always the tip I could say is always keep your mind open to achieving your goals. in a wide range of ways of things happening. Because what we might think is negative, oh, this happened to me, this will never happen. It might come. It normally comes around full circle for you, and that's what happens.
Yeah,
So,
and talking about full circle, sometimes it's because of the lessons that we need to learn.
yes, so true.
Sometimes, we think we've learned the lesson, and then we're given another example as to the next layer of what that lesson actually is.
Yes, yes, exactly. So true, so true.
So for those that have been listening, on JCooperTravels, that I'm involved with a lot of different businesses. The businesses that
Yeah,
I'm involved with are because of my personal passion. I'm a certified travel consultant. I'm also associated with Legal Shield. The QR code is up on my screen. But I definitely want everyone to think, just like we talked about, outside the box. You can, some of my businesses that I've been involved with are because of the passions and the interests that I had. And then I realized, like on the travel side, I had always been taking major travel trips around the world to Tanzania, to Europe, to London and Wales, China,
mhm,
and a friend of mine had said to me, "Why are you traveling retail when you could travel wholesale?" And I thought, well, that makes sense. So I
mhm,
became a certified travel consultant so I could save money as well as help others. So there are different reasons that you can navigate into a home-based business or a brick and mortar business. And we're seeing that with those small businesses that are coming out of the pandemic. Some of them started as home-based businesses, and now they're successful, and they're going the brick and mortar route, and some of them are going the online route.
yeah,
So there's nothing that's not possible. Again, you can do anything that you dream of. You need to make sure that you have a good team when you are
absolutely.
taking that step. So make sure, just like, if you have a good doctor, a good dentist for on the business side, you need to make sure that you have a good accountant, a good lawyer, again, um, coach, sometimes. So again, that's my tip and takeaway is, if you can dream it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And, there's so much possibility in our life. So any last minute thoughts that you want to share about Unpacked Energy or anything else that comes to mind? I know we're going to do more than one episode, but any last minute thoughts for our listeners?
Yeah, same thing. I just want to tell people that they are enough, they are loved, and they have support, and they have to find support in whatever capacity that may be. Sometimes it's not family, sometimes it is, but find your community, surround yourselves with people that are in alignment with where you are and where you're trying to go. And also, to be a good person. A lot of times we like to, push things off on other people and say, well, this is what happened to me and this is the way I am. And those things are valid, but also to try to be the best person that you can be and show up for the people that need you just as much as you want them to show up for you.
I agree with you
Yeah.
totally. So everyone, thank you so much for being on this episode. Remember to like and subscribe so you can hear the other upcoming episodes that are about to pop. And as I've been saying this year, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. We are all one world. We're all interconnection. And have a great day. Thank you, everyone.